Welcome back to Universe X. This is Chris, and I would like to start off by just again thanking everybody. I've been so happy with the feedback from these last couple of videos. I just wanted to ask everybody to keep commenting. I will go back and look at those and just try to respond to as many as possible. Well, all of them, because it's not like there's that many. Continue to like, because likes get more views get more followers, and continue to subscribe. I'm really trying to grow this channel, and my next goal is 1,000 subscribers. I know that's a lot from where I am right now, but every subscriber helps, so make sure to share to your friends who may want to know something about these decks, who may just kind of want something cool to watch for this game. And I'm just going to keep on going. I'm going to try to get 1,000 subscribers by June 2nd. You know why? Because that's my birthday, and that's kind of where I want to go with this. I try to set my goals and see how close I can get to them. And of course, the moment we hit 1,000 subscribers, I'm just gonna do some giveaway stuff. I'm really gonna try to amp up the prizes here, card-wise, see what's going on. So, in this video, we're going to get into the green Broly archetype from set 6. And before we get into it, I know there's like 3 different leaders, but I'm only gonna focus on one, because the Paragus is kind of like an odd support leader, support not support, and the Chilai and Limo leader, that's just a green Shenron. And if anything, it's a vehicle for the good green Shenron cards that came out last set, like the Super Saiyan 4 Goku, that's actually really good, but just doesn't really have a good vehicle to be used with. So we are going to go on about that. So the first thing we're going to talk about, and I'm going to be a little blunt, there's a lot of cards to go over here, so I won't be going into as much detail about the card effects as I was in the previous ones. You'll just have to follow the link down to the official page to read them if you'd like, but I would love to go into this archetype. And the first one we're going to talk about is the leader, Broly. Just Broly. He's green, he's Frieza's army. Choose up to 1 green Frieza's army card with an energy cost of 1 from your deck and add it to your hand. Then shuffle your deck and negate the skill for the duration of the game. When your life is at 4 or less, draw 1 card, choose 1 of your energy, untap it. The cycle is going around. The flip side is permanent. If there are 2 or more battle cards in play in your area, battle area, you cannot play battle cards. And then auto sparking 7. When this card attacks, draw cards until you have 6 in hand, and then auto activate main once per turn. Choose 1 of your battle cards and 1 of your opponent's battle cards, KO both of them. So the couple things about this leader. 1, if I completely just went over his first thing, 1, his front side is very important, because there's only 1 card this deck needs to see to go the crap off, and this Broly, make sure that you can see that card. That's first and foremost what his first ability is for. So that is nothing but consistency. I know those effects normally seem underwhelming. Oh, search 1 card, kind of weird, but no, this card searches the ignition. And that's actually what I was about to get into next about this deck. This deck is kind of like old Yu-Gi-Oh structure in terms of archetypes. You have the necessary card, the leader, which isn't Yu-Gi-Oh, but past that you have the ignition, which are, I believe in this deck, 3 cards that start your engine, that force your effects to happen. Then you have your middle pieces, which we'll get into later, and then you have your boss pieces. And that's just like, some archetypes don't kind of have that. They kind of just have like the unions do, like especially Union Absorbs, they have that kind of structure. But this one is like really linear in terms of how it's to be constructed. So the backside of this leader, of course, you can only play 2 battle cards, so that's sort of a limiting factor, but when you see the way this deck works, you'll kind of understand why. In Sparking 7, which isn't very hard to do in this deck at all, again, you'll see why once we get to these cards, but it's a very aggressive deck. It's meant so that even if you aggressively combo, you can just replenish your hand up to 6 and kind of roll with that. And I know 6 isn't a large hand size, but this deck isn't really meant to go a gajillion turns. Like, again, it's all in the cards you're about to see. And then activate main, he has the ability to, for old Yu-Gi-Oh players, scrap dragon cards. You destroy 1 of your own battle creatures or battle cards, destroy 1 of theirs, and that's actually very important. So we're gonna go in order of these stages that I was talking about. The first stage is the ignition stage. The first card I'd like to talk about is Broly, Unrealized Ambition. He is the 1-drop Freeze's Army green card that you need to search out with Broly. Why? Because when you play him and you have a green Freeze's Army, you can take 2 cards from your life, add them to your hand. But when this card is removed from the field by battle area by a skill or being KO'd, you can take up to 2 cards from your life and then choose up to 1 green Broly BR with an energy cost of 4 from your hand and play it. There's a lot of text on this card and he is insane. You literally play him and take 2 cards from your life to your hand. And if you can get rid of him in the same turn by any way but comboing, really, you get to take 2 more life and awaken. So this card is all you need to go from unawakened to awakened, provided that you have a way to KO him, which we will also get to next. So the next part of the ignitions would be the Broly's control ring of the deck. It's actually, sorry, I wasn't even on the right page, I apologize. Broly control mechanism. It's a 1-cost field and it says activate main, place this card in its owner's drop area. Choose 1 Broly BR with in your battle area, place in its owner's drop area, and draw a card. This is the second of the ignition cards I want to talk about. As you can see, with just 2 energy, you could awaken from 8 to 4 just using those 2. Use the Broly's main ability to search out the 1-drop, play the 1-drop, take 2 life, tap your other energy, play Broly control mechanism, pop the Broly, take 2 more life, and then you also have the Broly's effect, which drops the 4-drop in, and then you flip over and you untap 1, draw 1. So it's a very, very powerful combo. This deck should never awaken later than turn 2. It's just unreal. The last ignition card is Paragus the Rampage Trigger. He's a 2-drop SR, and when you play this card from hand, choose up to 1 of your Broly control mechanisms from your deck and activate it, then shuffle your deck. Activate main, you can choose 1 card in your battle area and this card, place them into your drop area, and you choose 1 of these effects. You either choose up to 1 Broly BR card with an energy of 6 or less from your deck and add it to your hand and shuffle it, or you choose up to 1 Broly BR card from your drop area and add that to hand. So this card will fetch from your deck or hand, but the deck has a certain activation or a certain cost requirement, whereas the graveyard is just any Broly BR card. So already just building off of this kind of style, your turn curve could be, if you fear your opponent, if you don't fear your opponent destroying your cards, you can just Broly BR, and that's actually, I'm so sorry for saying that, you don't even care if they're destroying your cards, as long as they're not bouncing it to your hand. Actually, it's removed from the field. Any way they get rid of this thing, really, unless you combo with it, it's gonna go off. So turn 1, you play Broly, take 2 life, pass. Turn 2, you can either play your second energy, either play the control mechanism and pop them, take your other 2 life and awaken, or you can play Rampage Trigger, choose to pop the Broly and the Paragus, take your next 2 life, drop your 4-drop Broly, and just go in from there. So already you can kind of see how these 3 cards are integral in any combination of them, really, as long as because you don't need to open up the 1-drop, you just need to see the Paragus or the Broly control mechanism, and your leader skill will do the rest of the work, unless you have all 4 of them in life, which is astronomically low, but hey, it can happen. Happens to some people. The next step in the way this archetype works are the lines that go from ignition. So we're actually going to talk about those right now, because there's 2 different lines, and yes, you can mix them, but because of the way the 4-drops work, it gets a little hard to mix them. You'll see that there are 2 4-drops that the 1-drop can cheat into play. However, 1 4-drop, when it gets removed from the field, will specifically cheat into play a 6, and the other one will specifically cheat into play a 7. And that's going to make it a little hard, because if you open up the 4-drop that goes into 6, but you open up the 7-drop we're about to go over soon for the starter deck, your chain's kind of broken. So I would suggest going into one or the other It really depends on how fast the game is being played. If you want maximum consistency, I would go one or the other, but you could mix them. It just may lead to some brick hands. But going back to what we were talking about with the chains, for the starter deck, you've got Broly rushing forth. He is a 4-drop. He is one of the 2 4-drops that you can drop off of the 1-drop. Critical, okay? Critical, and when this card is removed from the battle area by skill or KO'd, you may choose 2 cards from your hand, place them into the drop area, then choose up to 1 green Broly BR with a cost of 7 from your hand and play it. Okay. So, you can see that easy lines of play, okay? Moving on to the next one immediately, Broly the Ravager. He is the 7-drop and the face of the starter deck. Critical, so once again critical. Activate battle once per turn, burst 3. Choose the top 3 cards from your deck to your drop area to activate this skill. Your opponent chooses 1 card from their hand, places it in their drop area. At the same time, this is something that could be happening on turn 2, and I'll get to that really soon. But that's a powerful effect. He is 30k and he is coming for game. Not for game, I'm so sorry. He's coming in strong. The other line of play is 1 step longer, but you kind of have a couple more cards to deal with because it's 1 step longer. You start off, of course, let me get to it. I apologize for all the scrolling. This 4-drop is actually Broly Berserker Origins. Activate battle once per turn, choose 1 card from your hand, place it to a drop area. Choose up to 1 of your opponent's cards, battle cards, with an energy cost of 3 or less, and KO it. Auto, when this is removed from your battle area by a skill or KO'd, if your looted card is a green Frieza army, you may choose 2 cards from your hand, put them into your drop zone, and if you do, you play a green Broly with a card cost of 6 from your hand. That 6-drop goes into Broly Power Unleashed, and Broly Power Unleashed is double strike. Permanent, he cannot, when he attacks, your opponent can't use cards, counter cards that cost 2 or more. So he can't be Mafuba'd, he can't be a Raged Awakening. But activate battle, choose 1 card from your hand, place into your drop area, choose up to 1 of your opponent's battle cards, period, and KO it. So as long as it's in the barrier, it's going. Same effect, same trend. If he gets KO'd or sent from the battlefield, drop 2 cards from your hand, then you search out, or you cheat in a Broly BR card that's green with an energy cost of 8. And the 8-drop, the SR for this set, is Broly Limits Transcended. He's got double strike, permanent. During battles, when this card is attacking, they can't use 2-drop counters. And then auto, or activate battle once per turn, choose 1 card from your hand, place in your drop area, choose up to 1 of your opponent's battle cards, ignoring barrier, and KO it. So he has to swing, but he's 35k double strike. So, this is pretty cool, okay? They have the activate battles to destroy cards. One's a 3-drop, one is a 4-drop, or one's a 3-drop, one's any drop, and then the other one is any drop, or ignoring barrier. So you can kind of see how these things level up. Now, without talking about any of the other cards, because we'll just kind of get to them as sort of an afterthought, we have kind of lines of play that are already established here. You play the 1-drop, right? Like, just think of a curve like this. Optimal. You open up your hand, you got your 6 cards, you play your 1 energy, you use Broly's effect, you get your 1-drop. Play your 1-drop, take 2 life, pass. They can try to hit you for 1 life, 2 life, depends on what they do. If they hit you for 2 life, you're going to awaken regardless, but you might want to try to defend yourself a little bit simply because you want to keep your energy up, or your life up, because you're going to need to take 1 energy. Actually, it says up to 2. Sorry. You won't even need to do that, because I believe the Broly says 1 up to 2. Let me check just to make sure. Choose 1 or 2 cards. Okay. So yes, you will want to maybe protect your life total so you don't drop necessarily 2-4, because you're going to want to take at least 1 life for the next effect. But backing up before I had that little mishap. Turn 1, search out your Broly, play it. Take 2 life, okay? Turn 2, play your second energy, play Paragus. Paragus gets your control mechanism out from play. Play it on the field. Paragus's effect, tribute both Broly and the Paragus to the grave, okay? Broly is going to take 2 more of your life, allowing you to get into awakening range. Then, Paragus sends them both, of course, since he sends them both to the grave, Paragus's effect will proc, and you can take a Broly from your deck and add it to your hand. But as long as you had the 4-drop in hand, you're going to be able to cheat that into play, okay? So now, you swing with the 4-drop critical from the starter deck. he hits your opponent for critical, fair amount of critical on turn 2, and then you use Control Mechanism to pop itself and the Broly to draw 1 card and cheat into play the 7-drop Broly. And at this point, on turn 2, you have swung with a 20-something critical, a 30 critical, and then you're going to swing with your leader now after you awaken. So you'll end the turn with 1 energy up, your hand, and if you dip below 6, you're drawing up to 6, depending on what's in grave. I think in grave you have Broly, Paragus, Control Mechanism, and 2 cards from your grave, or 2 cards from your hand that you had to drop to get the 7-drop out. So you have 5 out of 7 sparking. So you only had to combo 2 cards for that, and it doesn't even matter because when Broly swings, you're going to go back up to 6 and pass the 1 energy open. That's a lot to do in just 2 turns. In 2 turns, you have taken off 2 crit from your opponent, presumably if they counter, because that's a lot to combo against early in the game. And you have also swung with your leader, so that's about 3 damage. And hey, that sounds good to me. Not to mention the fact that you can still kind of do it again the next turn, especially if you know you're going in for the kill turn or whatnot. So there's a lot of cool stuff that happens. With the other chain, it's a little slower because you don't go directly from the 4-drop to your boss card, but you could go, 1-drop Broly, do the same exact combo I said, get out your 4-drop Broly, swing for double strike, kill something of them by discarding a card, pop it with the machine, the Control Mechanism, draw 1 card, cheat out the 6-drop, and then swing with that one, blow up another card if they even have that many cards on turn 2, and then all you need to do is wait. If they kill him, you're bringing out your 7-drop or your 8-drop. If they don't kill him, you don't really have to worry about it. So that is pretty cool. So as you can kind of see, if that explanation made sense, these boss cards, at least the starter deck boss card, could be out as early as turn 2. And if you're playing the starter, or not the starter, the booster pack line, all you'd have to see to have that boss card out on turn 1 or turn 2 as well is the field card. Again, a second iteration of the field card, because in that case it'd be 1-drop turn 1, takes 2 life. Turn 2, Broly Rampage trigger, pop both, get out the 4-drop, take your stuff, swing the Control Mechanism, destroy, get out your 6-drop, awaken, untap 1, tap your last mana, Control Mechanism again. After you get your swings in, you pop that and you go into your 8-drop and you get that swing off too. So it's actually really savage. The two battle card restriction isn't as detrimental as some people would think, because you are putting incredible pressure on people while they still only have 2 energy. If you went first, only 1. And that's actually ridiculous. So the next thing I wanted to go over are the last parts, because we've been through the ignition, we've been through the kind of middle, not fodder, but middle pieces, and we've been through the in-game pieces. So now I just want to talk about some of the support cards. There are a couple of them. Now these cards, they're not like the most important, but at the same time, it's still nice to be able to have cards that you can kind of just fit, within the scheme of everything. First and foremost, I want to talk about the super combo. The super combo that is kind of getting the most looks is a Defending Father Paragus. He's basically a Hoi for any green leader. And he just is a super combo. If you combo with this card, if your life is at 4 or less, draw 2 cards and choose 1 card from your hand and send it to the warp. I love that effect. It's more fishing. It's making Hoi less and less special, because now we have Hoi, Hellas. We have a couple of cards that do the same thing, but at the same point, that filtering is really good, especially for a color like green that's kind of been lacking a little bit. On the same time, it's also kind of a balancing effect, because if it just dropped it, you'd be able to fish it right back with Paragus. In this case, it warps it, so it's not going to be that easy to use to get the card back, at least not with these particular cards. Some of the other support cards I just like to talk about real quick as I find them would be, there is a searcher, just a Paragus Deadly Premonition. When you play him, you look at the top 5 cards of your deck and choose up to 1 Broly BR card amongst them, add them to your hand. When the card is removed from the battle area by a skill, or if your leader card is a green freezes army, choose up to one of your green energy, switch to active mode. Just a little incentive, you know, play them, search, and if you use your control mechanism on them or anything like that, or if your opponent removes them by skill, you just untap an energy, just ready it. It's neat. He's interesting because when your Broly's awakened, you can just play him, flip him, you can play him and flip him and destroy, you know, one of your cards, which is the Paragus, one of their cards, and you'll just untap an energy to keep your play going after you've already searched out for your next play. The other quick support cards would be Ties That Bind Ba. He's just a simple recursion. He's a 1-drop, you play him, activate main, put him in your drop area, get any Broly BR with a cost of 1. So he kind of searches out just the 1-drop Broly, but if you build his deck correctly, I'm not sure if you'll need Ba because you only need to see 1 Broly to go off. Then you've got the last one, or last 2 that I feel like are worth noting at this very moment, which would be it's Tragic Awakening, Sparking 7. If your leader card is a green Frieza's army, choose one of your energy and place it into your drop area. Then choose up to 1 Broly BR with a card cost of 6 or less from your drop area and play it. So this is neat because once you get down to 4 life, you're not going to want to be using the 1-drop Broly to get your effects off because he needs to take life. But this one will sacrifice an energy, better fueling your sparking for, you know, cards. Not like you'll need it after this, but you'll take 1 of your energy to the grave, and then you'll play your Broly, and then all you need to do from there is use your Paraguses or your control mechanisms if you have any access to any other copies. The last one is Wrathful Charge. It's just a green counter. If your leader card is green, negate the attack, then you may choose one of your battle cards and place it in the drop area. If you do, your opponent chooses a card from their hand and places it into their drop area. So not only that early in the game are you nagging their hand, but you're also potentially destroying your 1-drop Broly, allowing you to get 2 more cards to your hand and awaken on your turn. So that's actually pretty much it. Like I said, it's in multiple pieces. You need your trigger pieces first, your ignition pieces first, then you need your middle pieces to extend your combo directly into your boss pieces. And you have the cards that sort of can gel, you know, be the cement between your bricks, which are the last couple I've been talking about. So I hope you guys liked it. Remember to like, comment, subscribe. Let me know in the comments if I got anything wrong. I try to make sure I look into this. I haven't tested this one as much as I could have, but I really do want to, because the more I was looking at these cards, the more I was like, oh. So yeah, just remember, I want to keep making content. You guys give me the strength I need, and I'll see you next time you guys decide to join Universe X for another talk. I'm going to be trying to do these every 2 days, so the next one, if we go on schedule, will be up on Saturday. So thanks. Peace.